Good evening, everyone. Up and greetings
Good
in the name of
evening.
the Lord, Savior Jesus Christ. Can you hear my voice? Shall I continue?
Yes, uncle.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
I thank God for this blessed time to share my story regarding USI and me. Well, back in 1974, I received a 2-inch type written about UCAM folder for Kangpok mission compound. I was pleasantly surprised as I was in a small village in Churachandpur district. I was a volunteer teacher in Mission Junior High School, teaching full-time and earning a pocket money of ₹5 per month. Camp registration fee was ₹30. I don't know how I managed, but God's grace took me from my village in Churachandpur to Kangpok mission compound. I went by bus up to Imphal and by an ambassador car. Those days regarded a helicopter hired by poor Reverend Dr. Lamboy Waife, senior EJF and professor of Churachandpur College at that time. When I returned back from the camp, Sister Flora paid all the fare for those who returned to Imphal. I was taken aback at her generosity since I experienced this for the first time in my life. During Kangpok camp, we are only 5 members in each group. Sister Sin Caroline, Apinaw, Adin, and me. They have brown group. I was like a frog out of a well. Everything was so new to me, like I was puzzled. And the sensible and intelligent Diulalan girls singing and all the giggling overwhelmed me and made me so self-conscious and nervous. In my group, we are all under matric students, wonderfully. Since Perty was so keen, I learned from her that they were allowed to join UCAM, and I was a special case admitted to a camp as a result of Dr. Sian Puslap and care and concern for my. We are blessed and privileged to have a number of resource persons. Our main speaker was Brother Ronald Adhikari and Brother Sibijon, Sir Pulamboy Vaipe, Charlie Christopher, and Ruth, Brother J.J. Paul, musician and accordion song leader, and Sir Pipi Gangte and Professor Tansei. The theme of the camp was "Bound Out into the Deep." One very significant event was that it was in this very camp that I met my wife for the first time in my life. In 1975, I joined my second new camp at Churachandpur College. Brother P.C. Verghese was the main speaker. I became a new member that year, but was irregular as I was in the village. After 1977, the year of my marriage, with my wife, I became an EJF member, and I remember attending EJF meeting at state level, EJF meeting at Brother Dr. Lord Hall's. Now he's the present MP Outer Parliamentary, Manipur, and at Apinaw's place at Diulalan, Imphal. And in Churachandpur used to have EJF meeting at Brother Remtang's place. After a gap of almost 20 years or so, in 2001, there was a revival of UESI from Senapati for Manipur. A revival came because they invited us to attend EJF conference, Senapati. Later, I had the privilege of traveling most of the districts of Manipur with Brother Dr. Daiko, whom we all love and cherish so much and miss so much. And the good Lord allowed us to see the decentralization of Manipur. Besides, I also had the God-given opportunity of speaking at youth camps and enjoy the joy of fellowship at easier meetings at different places in Manipur. And being a part of the UESI family has truly enriched my life. I'd like to share some valuable things that I learned from USI. Number one, I learned how to stand boldly and speak in English with confidence. Second one is I learned how to practice quiet time, which has helped in strengthening my spiritual life till today. Third thing is I learned and experienced so much genuine care, mentoring from the mentors, and concern and love from USI family. And I learned about finding God's will and marrying the right partner. I learned from USI camp, then I learned personal Bible study and how to strive to achieve a victorious Christian life. All this I didn't get from the church, and sometimes they thought it is taboo, like finding God's will, or because we call it love, sex, and marriage in the camp. The fourth thing I learned about personal Bible study and how to strive to achieve that I hope I have shared already. Then I learned that USI obeys and fulfill the Great Commission, and this faith is in line with my conviction of God's priority number one is, and that is to preach to all nations. So I had given my life to go to the interior like Burma. I had attempted in 1976, but I returned after 1 year because there was no mission field there. Then seventh thing I learned is the sweetness and blessings of fellowship from USI family. And the eighth thing is that USI brings together people of all communities and that there is no racial or communal feeling. And ninth thing I learned is that USI emphasizes on the sound teaching and doctrines of the Bible. And 10, not last but the least, I learned importance of mentoring. And besides this, well, I was a president of UESI Manipur in my humble capacity. The Lord allowed me to visit all the capitals of India to attend AGMs, except Mumbai. So I'm really happy that this USI family, and I would like to call it my tryst with destiny. Otherwise, I'll not be what I am. I would like to say that I am what I am because of the Lord, USI, and this US family. Thank you very much. And I learned the importance of mentoring also, the value of the mentors and the blessedness of the mentees also. And I was one. I'm afraid I could not mentor too many people. I thank all the USI family. And with Paudi, one of my passion and my vision, we could go to Myanmar, backdoor, and we could have 2 days of discipleship training in Myanmar, sponsored by IFES. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Any question you want to ask me, please? I hope you can hear me.
How many
Yes,
years,
we can hear you, Uncle.
how many years did you serve
Yes.
as a president?
If there's any questions that you like to ask.
Yeah. My question is, how many years did you serve as a president of UESI Manipur?
7 years.
7 years.
Paudi, can correct me. Is it 7 years or 8 years? I'm afraid I have overstayed my use also in USI. Thank you.
Yeah, 6 years as a president of Manipur, UESI Manipur.
6 years.
Yeah, and 2 years as a Manipur UESI president.
Okay. Altogether, how many years? 8. Did 8 or 7?
8 years. 8 years.
8 years.
Okay. Brother Moon, can you hear me?
Yes, Flora.
Hello.
Yes, I can see, I can hear you, Flora.
Oh, okay, thank you. When was your new birth experience?
1970 in the village. After that, I was in the program, no growth. And I said already, I was like a frog in the well. My first exposure to those people is in 1974. When I came to UK in Kampupi and met all you wonderful people.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
I think your wife has a very wonderful memory concerning an episode in Kampupi.
My wife, she's here.
Yeah, she can tell.
What was that memory?
It will be
She
good.
said, do you have time, Anima?
So that you can know something about what kind of a
yeah?
man he was.
Okay.
You want to see me?
Yes.
What is that memory experience you had?
Okay. Then let me say it. If you don't mind, Brother Moon,
Yes.
I think you smoke a lot.
Really, in the bathroom. And even on the bed, on the blanket. Because no one told me holiness in the village. All this holiness and victory Christian life, I learned from you only.
Yes, thank you. Brother Shenpu was actually quite on smoking, and the camp rule is that smoking was not allowed. And so he was surprised, and so, but then the urge to smoke was there, so he used to lie down on the bed and cover it with a blanket and smoke.
That's true.
And one of the campers, a brother,
Kanutai.
discovered him.
Pastor Kanutai.
And his sin was found out. And anyway, since that conversion experience, things change for him.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
So in the village, this smoking, tobacco, all these things thought as like taxi, they use pan, so to say, in Magalaya. So I was addicted to smoking, and I could stop after this EU came. Only, of course, in 1976. After the second EU came, I attended in Chazanpur College. There also I met my to-be wife, so to say, the second time, and then one thing led to another. We got married in 1977. That Kampupi episode was rather funny. At 9, I cover myself with blanket at the light off. So I smoke under the blanket, and the smoke must have come out. And Kanutai said, "The Kamzamung, you're burning. So he took out the blanket and I put the smoke in. I said, pee. Then she pulled me out. He said, kneel down on the ground. He pushed me down on the ground and he said, you'll burn in hell. Repent and you pray. So I confessed there. But when I returned, I started again. You know, addiction is addiction. But God gave me victory in 1976 before I went to Myanmar. With missionary, though I returned, bounced back, and I came to Bethany, and I have been staying there till date. Thank you.
Thank you. Brother Mung mentioned a name called Kanutai. He was one of the Imphal EU members, and he was a pastor in the church, and he became a reverend, so Reverend Kanutai. But
yes,
many years ago, he passed away.
I know.
He went to be with the Lord.
So very sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Flora.
I sing all of you.
It's open. Thank you so much. It was very interesting, like hearing the story, Uncle sharing your story, and also the knowing that Auntie Flora, all of you were together, and then you knew each other from those days. It's so interesting to hear your story together like this.
Really.
I've heard Uncle Moon's others testimony also many times, and I've always been blessed with his story. And even this evening, I'm so much blessed. Will there be any other more like question for? Any questions?
Yes, Anima. Hello, Dr. Mong. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Alfred. I can hear you.
So Anima wants to learn how you like your sister, your wife, how you propose. How you,
Yes, brother.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can teach us or teach them
You don't need.
About what?
about your choosing life partner.
Yes. In
Uh,
fact,
from the
was
from
it
the
we
beginning. You
came,
can,
I was so much interested in the love section marriage. That was called the topic. This day we call it finding God's will. Those days it
yes.
was called love section marriage, and she's the Charlie Christopher, the main speaker, was taking on this topic, and
We're talking
she
about
explained
finding God's will.
topic
Ah,
love is the desire for the welfare of the one loved. She said love. She in South Indian accent, love is the desire for the welfare of the one loved. So I
you're
could not
right.
make out the words. So do or die, I said I was so much nervous to stand up, but I said do or die. I wanted to know definition of love. Because love is blind, so many things. But Sister Charlie said, UESI staff worker, love is the desire for the welfare beyond life. I thought it's like bird chopping or singing. So I said, Mate dam tak do or die. So I get that all my courage. I stood up the first time in my life. I said so nervous. I was so maha nervous. So I want her to repeat. So I stood up and said, brother, please repeat the sentence. So the whole camp burst into laughter, and then the whole camp, they call me Sister Moon. And the whole camp, we call her Brother Sali. So till today, like Ashin and gang, when they saw me, they used to call me, teach me Sister Moon. Then I used to call Brother Ashin like that, no? So from that camp, J.G. Paul also told me that be not unequally yoked. He also took one subject. So one thing that really touched me was that the illustration of J.G. Paul is said, if you marry a born-again Christian, marries the one who is not born again, or not even who is not dedicated, who is carnal Christian. A Christian or dedicated, or let us say EU member, is standing on the table, and worldly or carnal Christian, maybe born again but not dedicated, is on the ground. If they pull each other, they will, gravity, the law of gravity will help the one who is on the ground. So believers like you members, we are on higher ground, like on a table. So if we pull, gravity law will help, though a guard is very weak on the ground. So that really touched me, and then I really struggled. And my favorite book was that Love Section, Marriage by Walter Trosbeth. And I love a woman. I married you, all those things I read, and say Anima is keen to know that one, no? So I prayed to God, and I thought that I'll marry someone who is the same height with me up to my ear. But is under my armpit only, no? So that came from Isaiah or someone. My thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. If the heaven is higher than the earth, my thoughts are much, much higher than your thoughts then. But the last straw, so to say, I mean that challenged me to marry auntie was that whenever I see some girls, those are not dedicated, I thought I'll be in the world. I see dancing, for example, a party, all those things. And whenever I think about auntie, I see pulpit, sharing, singing, all those things. And then I didn't have peace to marry some girls. And then when I prayed to God about auntie, Proverbs chapter 31, 10 up to 31, there is an ideal wife. It is mentioned in one Bible at the footnote, 22 qualities, ideal wife. 22 roll into one. So when I prayed, will hear a word behind you. This is the way, walk in it. So God's people, they advise me to marry auntie, and the mother favor me. In fact, auntie did not love me. She's not that type, no? If you say to auntie, I love you, she may slap you also. But she's so dedicated, very mature. And then I prayed about so many years. I prayed for my wife, especially I learned from you camp. I have to pray. I'm very hurt. So I heard that God says, this is the way. Walk in it. When you turn to the left, or turn to the right. So it settles it. Then we pray to God, and all God's people, they want us to get married. So that's it. I hope it is clear. I have peace when I think about auntie and now marriage. When I think about some other girls, I was in great confusion. But God is not the author of confusion. Thank you. Is it clear, Alfred? The question?
Yes, very good. Very good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mon.
Nice to see all of you.
Thank you so much, Uncle, for sharing your story. We are all blessed. And this evening, we are so blessed to have many senior grades with us also. Maybe like after the speaker, we will give time for some of them also. But for now, we'll give time to Dr. Chow first. He will share his story. Then maybe if you have question, you can ask him. And after that, we will have time to introduce some of the senior EGFs. And yeah, they take some few minutes also to share. So now I give time to Dr. Chambo Gonmei.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can you see me?
No,
Yes.
I cannot see you.
Very much. We can see that prosperous forehead.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
Okay. The network is so bad here in Tamil Nadu. I mean, still in office. Hello.
yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. So nice to hear the story of Uncle Mo. After a long time seeing you all. Yeah. Hello, Anima. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So, how are you all?
Yes, we are doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Okay.
Chambo.
Thank you. Yeah. So, how do I start?
Yes.
You start from the beginning.
You start from here.
Okay, seeing you all after a long time, and yesterday I got a call from Nehemiah, our brother Nehemiah from Senapati, and he requested me to say something on this particular day in UESI. So thank you, Uncle Moon, for remembering all those days. It's a good, yeah, he had mentioned a lot of things, and I can also remember vividly of all our those days when I joined EU in 1974. Well, it was those days I was in class 6, if class 6, I think. Yeah, and we are not so. I mean, some of my friends like Apam and Asung and all, we were neighbors, and then we used to go wherever Sister Apinao, Sister Flora, Sister Ashin, and all these people, you know, wherever they go, Sister Caroline, you know, then we always follow them wherever they go. And then to begin with, my journey in UESI, I should say, it was very premature for us those days. We are not matured in our thinking. Everything we are so immature. And then yes, Kangpokpi, when uncle had mentioned something, that time also I remember very vividly. We are only playing around. We are not interested in all those singing and praying and things like that. But wherever they go, we used to enjoy. And then there was a time, some years, that was in 75, 76, in Jorhat, when DC Verghese was there. I think he's still alive. I haven't seen him for a long time, and I'm out of touch with him also. PC Verghese, brother, Uncle PC Verghese, and those days we hired a bus, I think, and then we went to Jorhat, and there's so many brothers, uncles from Nagaland also, and we had a very good gathering. And that particular night, we were really touched, and when we had all those meditation and Bible study and all those things, me and myself, Asung and myself, we were just full of pranks, but still then during the devotion and all, we really enjoyed and the worshiping time, and then hearing the stories and from Uncle Verghese. It was really nice. And then that day, that time only, of course, I was slightly serious. Before that, I'd like to say that during the visit of Billy Graham in Kohima in 1972, my auntie took me, because Billy Graham was a very famous evangelist, and many of my family members and all, even our church members, many of them, they plan ahead to attend this thing crusade at this thing, but when he came and when he started preaching and all, we were told to raise our hands, whoever believes in Jesus. I could not hear properly because we were on the back side. The mic was not very, clear and all. But then my auntie told me, you raise your hand. I said, for what? Do you believe in Jesus? He's asking you. If you believe in Jesus, then you have to raise your hand. So I was, very not very sure of my thoughts, of my decision, or whatever it is. But then I raised my hand. So that was in 1972. And then after some years, in 1976, I totally cut off with the UESI, and then also with the EU activities with all our friends, brothers, and all. So I was in Don Bosco for some years. Then after that, I went to Indore, and I completed my 12th class from there. And then I went to West Bengal and I completed my MBBS. And by God's grace, everything was quite good. And the environment and the friends that God has given me those days, it was really terrific. And I, what to say, I learned a lot from Sister Flora, because she was the one who used to lead us in the Bible study when we were small and all. And I wanted to have that kind of same lifestyle when I was in Bankura. But many of us were all non-believers and things like that. But then in Serampur, we went there and then we had kind of Bible camp and all. Uh, but not much activities when it comes to this, say, EU or anything like that. There was no EU at all, and then no EGF. And so when I come back and when I joined the service here in Manipur, um, by God's grace, I managed to meet all our seniors and all, and many of them had established, and many of them were really doing well. And my posting was in different places in Chong, Jain Hospital. Those days it was called Jain Hospital, not Jennings. And then after that, Uncle Pendrong D, we called, he expired some years back. He was a minister that time, and then he asked me, Atung Pao. He didn't say Chambo, huh? He used to call me Atung Pao only as a pet name. And then Atung Pao, do you want to go to Tausem? If you're willing, then I'll send you to Tausem and serve the poor people there. So I don't know. I just had that kind of thinking that since uncle had said something, okay, I'll go. So without any second thought, without any hesitation, I went to Tausem. And Tausem is the most backward, say, subdivision in Tamenglong, not only in Tamenglong, but in the whole Manipur. And it was a very difficult place, and I was posted there for 4 years. And but thing is that I really thank God for giving me the privilege to work there, where we had to work on foot most of the time, no vehicles, and we don't have any shops in that particular say area in Tausem. One or two groceries were there, but hardly anything. So it was very difficult. But then I really thank God, and I prayed and I prayed that God should give me the strength to overcome all the difficulties of this Tausem area. And then wherever I go, uh, people really welcomed me, and they really, they were really happy that a doctor had come to treat them, because people hardly go there, and it's a kind of no man's land, this Tausem area. So then I was there for four years. I visited more than 30 villages, quite frequently to the most interior part also, and so life was very interesting for me, though difficult, because from Tamenglong to Tausem, I had to work for 2 days. And but still then I was happy, because I could go and serve those poor people there. And this is how my life, that I had gone through all these hardships, I could bear it because I was taught by my seniors during the Bible study, during the prayer time, in my school days. And this has really touched my heart, that yes, God has given me the opportunity to go to this all this difficult area, and many times, I survived. I don't know whether it is an appropriate word to say survive, because so many antisocial elements were there, and in one incident I was nearly shot by one UG because they're all drunk. And then I said, I'm a medical officer working at Tausem, doing my duty. So I've come a bit late, but then they were so suspicious and all. And from one corner, they tried to shoot me, but then God saved me. Because the village chairman told that particular guy that he's a medical officer, and there's no reason that you should shoot that particular doctor. So somehow God uh, heard my prayer, and whenever I go in all those difficult areas, uh, it was very difficult. But then, as I keep on praying, God answered all my prayers, and till today, God has been with me. And it's a very difficult time. It's a pandemic time. I told Brother Nehemiah that I may not be able to spend my time here this evening, but I'll try my best. And God willing, I'll be here. And then really, it'll be a great pleasure to see all our seniors, our sisters, our brothers, uh, who were with me during my childhood days. And now, getting older, but still then, we have to fight this pandemic, COVID-19, and we don't have much time to go to any other places. But then we have to keep on fighting this invisible war. And till today, by God's grace, uh, we are protected. My staff, some of my staff, myself, and who are very close to me, we are all protected. And I like to um, request you all to uphold in your prayers as I continue to serve the people here, because the number of cases of COVID-19 is increasing, and also uh, say many are home isolated, and now the positivity rate is the highest in Manipur, Tamenglong. Population is about 78 to 80,000 only, but the active cases are very high. So I pray, and I also would like to request you all to uphold in your prayers for Tamenglong district, and particularly for all those who are suffering from this COVID-19. And back to the days, some years back, when Uncle Daiko, or Brother Daiko, when he was alive, uh, um, uh, Brother Mung, both of them, they came with Brother Paudi and all that we should, revive. Yeah, I was totally I've forgotten about all those EGF things, and we are so busy with all those, going to the interiors, doing health camps here and there and all. And then I was hardly involved in the EGF thing. And when I discussed with our seniors, I said that yes, there was this time of EGF having fellowship, worshipping together and all. But then I heard that the EU was very active, and my life was changed to a better way, because Uncle and all those brothers and all from Imphal, they had come, Yes, I really miss um, our brother Daiko. He passed away, but then all of them were there to revive EGF in Tamenglong, and presently Athon is taking care of it. And I don't have much time when many of our people from Imphal, whenever they come to Tamenglong, also I hardly get time to meet them. I'm really sorry for that. But then uh, I had given the maximum time here in the office and in the service, and I feel that serving the people, serving mankind is serving God. So I'm continuing in this way. Uh, Thank you all.
Thank you,
Mm,
Dr.
ah,
Chambo.
yeah.
Anyone have question to like for
What can you tell us about your family? How many children?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, I have 5 children, four boys and one girl. My wife, Mohini, she is from Imphal, and we are all there in Imphal. We have a house there in Imphal also. Some are studying in Imphal, and some are studying in Delhi, and some are with me here in Tamenglong. And my wife is, I mean, she's from this thing, Bauna Bazaar, Kakulong. I'm sure you all know it. And her father was the first pastor of Kakulong Baptist Church. And they, their background was like from a non-Christian sort of life. But then their family were the first to be the Christian in that village, and with God's grace, I should say, we're all fine, and she's looking after the children. She's not working in the government job or in the private sector or anything like that, but she's looking after the children at home. Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is not the actually relating, not in context, but a little bit diverted. But still, then, since
Right.
Dr. Chambo, you mentioned about the highest case of COVID in Tamenglong, can you tell us why Tamenglong has got the highest active cases of COVID-19?
This is after the lockdown 4. There was sort of relaxation and in inter-district. So many people from outside started coming from the buses and from taxis and all. And then many of them who had come from Imphal, they were the ones who were tested positive, and also from coming from Delhi and all like that. And if one person comes to that particular family, the transmission starts and the whole family is affected. And that is why we are we have already approached the state also that it would be appropriate if you can have another 14 days lockdown. But government of India is not allowing this SOP. So we are doing the maximum tracking. Tracking is very important. Um, Tracking of those people who had come from outside, and then the one of the family members will be sick. So that means I have to suspect the other family members, and when we tested, all of them were positive. So if we don't do this active contact tracing, then we won't be able to get that kind of figure also, I think. But I feel that we are more complacent. Many of our people are complacent about this COVID-19. The infectivity rate is high because maybe even from the task force, even from the say security side or administration side, or even from the health side also, many people are complacent, and this we need to enforce more stricter measures, like setting up more centers also, testing centers. Recently, I have increased the testing center, and so we could detect more people. And now the government of, SOP says that after 10 days in the COVID care center, you don't have to test again. Then you can go home and do the home isolation for 7 days. After that, if you want to confirm again, you can test it. Otherwise, you don't need to do it. And now, if you opt for home isolation, it will be about 14 days. So that 14 days, only after 14 days only, then you'll be tested. And so many of them, the recovery rate is, as of now, because of the positivity rate is high, the recovery rate is also low. Previously, the recovery rate was 92%. Now it has gone down to 60% again. So I think our people should be, more cautious. And then the main thing is that there's no medicine, no vaccine at all. So the best thing that we can do to prevent this COVID-19, we have been telling the people off and on now that you should wear masks, and then constantly, as soon as you go out from your house, in your office, in your workplaces and all. And also, you wash your hands frequently, otherwise you use your hand sanitizers and things like that. And then social distancing. This is very important, and we are not following it. Many of them are not following this physical distancing. And so I have been repeatedly requesting the people, even in the media and all, that we should maintain these SOPs. So I hope that in the coming days, things will be better.